Got open man. DJ Moore. End zone. Touchdown. Touchdown Bears.
I am Jeff Joniak.
Blitz is on. Down he goes. Oscar.
What was it like playing for Coach Ditka?
I don't want to answer any questions like that.
Pressure coming. He's in big trouble. Down he goes. Montez Sweat.
Now, Bears Etc. brought to you by Chevy Drives Chicago, the official truck partner of your Chicago Bears.
Stubborn to the bitter end, fighting to the finish. The Bears would not quit. They played with fire, but in the end found a path to victory. And in this league, no apologies for the win. You'll hear that a lot from Bears head coach Ben Johnson and his players as they get ready for the next step in the process as they greet the New York Giants Sunday at Soldier Field. With Super Bowl winning Bears guard Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. We discuss all of it today in episode 183 of the Bears Etc. podcast. And this episode of Bears Etc. is brought to you by Chevy Drive Chicago. The official truck of your Chicago Bears. We'll hear from Ben Johnson in a moment. Authentically, this man has set the standard in the building, Tom, and he's passionate about it. You know who said that today? That was Olamide Zaccheaus. Those are strong words, and they're living with them.
I like that quote.
Yep, they are living that way, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're a product of the attitude of their head coach and the surrounding assistant coaches. I think we've seen nothing but quality since Ben has brought aboard the group of guys he's hired to lead these group of players. And I think it's got the makings of an exciting future. And I don't only mean the future of next week. I mean the future of the Chicago Bears in Ben's career here.
The foundation of the offense is the running game. That's what it is.
Always.
And I love it that they're number 2 in the league. I asked Ben about it. We'll hear that in a minute. 144.4 yards a game, Tommy. I broke it down even further. I want you to weigh in on all of this now. So, number 2 in the league, rushing yards per game at the midway point, nine games in. 29.4 attempts per game. That's third most in the NFL. 4.91 a carry, now up to 6th in the NFL. They are 9th in attempts in rushing. And they are number 1, making number 7 on first down rushing at 5.23 yards a carry. They lead the league in runs of 10 yards or more with 39, and they are 10th in passes of 10 yards or more. The total of big plays, they are tied for 5th. So, I say what do you think of those running numbers?
Well, I think that we all became aware when the Bears hired Ben Johnson how important the running game is in the big picture of offensive success. Number 2, when they went and hired Eric Bieniemy, the running backs coach, he came in here with a hard-nosed reputation that you were either going to live under his guideline or you weren't going to live in this house. Number 3, Dan Rochar has done an incredible job of putting together and making some difficult decisions on the offensive line in really starting to scratch the surface of players that we've been waiting to see this from over the last 5 or 6 weeks. The increase in the competitiveness and what Jim Dre is doing with the tight end position. How we all got to know about Ben's mantra of no block, no rock. And from the passing game to the running game, the wide receivers are super included in the success of the running game pitcher. And a lot of time is left behind when we talk about the running game. It's either isolated on the running back specifically or the offensive line specifically. This is an entire group effort that is improving week in and week out.
What it's doing, it's helping Ben call the game too, because he can use, outside, he can use gap scheme, he can do whatever he'd like right now, and he's getting production. That was some of the best fun tape for me to watch was and I don't know offensive line like you, so I'm not going to sit here. But, man, there were a couple times I was showing you plays. I'm like, look at this. And the one that got me so jacked is Darnell Wright. He wiped out Shamar Stewart across the line of scrimmage and drove his back into the ground. He covered from one end of the right side of the offensive line to the left side of the offensive line on a play and put that rookie on his back with an attitude. Loved it.
Well, the thing that I liked about that play the most, it was the 4th and 1. And we've been searching for an answer for 4th and 1, 3rd and short on this football team for years. Who is that go-between powerhouse that's going to get it to you even though you know it's coming? And I'm not excluding all the other offensive linemen because they're showing the equal importance of their roles in the success of this running game. But that one specific block on 4th and 1 by Darnell Wright, it's a power play. There's no doubt about it. 4th and 1 is not fancy. You're not sitting there trying to fool people out of position. You have to powerfully move people off the line of scrimmage and push them the distance that you're talking about. And that's exactly what Darnell did on that play specifically. And probably, Jeff, it's probably one of the most powerful blocks I've seen here in 6 to 8 years.
Yeah. And there was a lot of good stuff, Ben, this morning on ESPN 1000 in our interview. Every single offensive line did something good, something significant. So did the receivers. He singled out Adunze. We can talk about the tight ends. Durham Smythe, he's doing a heck of a job. There's lanes being created. And then, of course, the viciousness by which Monangai ran the football. And Britton Brown, and what DeAndre Swift has been doing the last couple of weeks before his injury. So this is really starting to really percolate, Tom. It's got me so jacked up about it.
Well, let's throw that caveat in there of Ozzie Trapillo, because there's a couple times that he reported in the game, he went in motion, he got his place on the line of scrimmage, and you could see how the defensive line had to shift accordingly. They shifted accordingly to get themselves in a more blockable position. And then the Bears had dominant double teams. And then you saw a run by Monangai that he ran straight ahead for 10 yards, never got touched. The hole that they created because of the involvement of Ozzie Trapillo was about as perfectly as a block play as I've seen in a long time.
So he's getting a handful of these, right? He's knowing he's getting these every week now. It is not going to stop. I wouldn't think. How valuable is this for him right now?
I think you kind of lose sight of the value that he can offer the offense, but also the value of playing in the most difficult listening position on the road. And that's that far outside tight end position next to an offensive tackle. And that type of challenge is so important for the future of his career, because he's not always here in the count, but you still need the same explosiveness out of him that you would offer if he was standing right next to the quarterback. So whether it's his assignment, his movement, his playing right side and left side, all of the everything that he's developing in the young part of his career that's going to help him in the future is important.
I asked Ben this morning, how valuable were the 5 first-down runs of Caleb Williams? And he answered it, in a positive way. This has been something that they've been talking about. But I always ask you how important just 5 or a handful of first downs are from the quarterback position.
We talk about this ad nauseum.
Yeah.
Because I always talk about the importance of first downs by the feet of the quarterback and how many extra plays it leads to, how frustrating it is for the defense, how creative of an athlete Caleb is in some of the most difficult of circumstances. And then when he goes out there and rushes for a first down, that is so deflating to a defense that it's probably difficult to measure, but it means a lot to the big picture success of the offense.
Then in his news conference with the media today said that Caleb's quarterback play is, quote, looking more like I want it to look, like how he wants it to look. He's starting to play faster. It's coming along nicely. And we see evidence of this. And here's something significant as well. Going back to the Packer win in January of this year, the finale in 2024. I know it's not pertinent, different, but this is where it is relevant. 4 of the last 6 games, he has led fourth quarter comebacks, fourth quarter victories. Caleb Williams at quarterback in 4 of his last 6 wins.
Yeah, but I think he's only scratching the surface of ultimately what Caleb is going to be. And I think when you see those positive signs, it's so encouraging to you as a coach, knowing that you're doing the right things. It could lead to frustration if you didn't see that incremental improvement that you need to see out of every position player. But Caleb happens to be the quarterback. And I just think it's super encouraging that he's getting the message, he's developing the message, and he's delivering the message.
This podcast is brought to you by Miller Lite, the official beer partner of your Chicago Bears. Tastes like Miller time, Chicago. Go to MillerLite.com/BearsPod to find delivery options near you. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Bit of bad news. When Dayo Adengbo limped off the field with one leg and slammed his helmet down to the ground, he knew what he had. It wasn't an ankle. It was a torn Achilles. He's had it before. Oh. He had it at Vanderbilt as he was getting ready for the draft. That was, I don't know what leg that was. This was his right one, but his season is ended. And so we could appreciate the frustration of Achilles because anyone who's had it feels like somebody struck you with a bat in the back of the leg, right? And you look and turn, see what happened, and here you got, your Achilles torn. So that's a lengthy recovery as well. That'll linger into, the preparation of the offseason and into next season, I would imagine. So that puts them in a depth situation here because Dominique Robinson had that ankle sprain. I don't know where he's at. But it's causing people to wonder, are the Bears going to try and do something before the trade deadline tomorrow? Because they did add defensive ends on the practice squad last week. Jonathan Garvin, former Packer, 6'4", 257. Jamri Croma, another defensive lineman, is on the roster. But that's it on the practice squad and whatever's on the roster right now.
Well, Daniel Hardy, I'm sure, will increase his reps at defensive end. Austin Booker, fortunately, came back and looks like he's really on the track to succeed. But it is a rotating position, and you need probably 4 on game day activation to have that position stay fresh and effective. And I'm sure Ryan Poles and his staff will do their diligence on either the guys that they have here or someone that may be able to be brought in.
Right, it could be a terrific opportunity for Daniel Hardy, too. And he's been so good on special teams. That would take him away, I would think, from some of his special teams duties potentially if he's getting into that rotation. But we'll see how it all plays out as the week goes on. While we sort through that, let's listen in to our weekly interview on Mondays with the head coach, Ben Johnson. All right, Ben, good to see you once again. How's 5-3 feel?
It's good. It's not something that we're really thinking about a whole lot other than the fact that we're in a good spot here for the second half of the season, and we'll focus on this next quarter of games coming up.
All right, the 3 touchdowns and 2 lead changes in the final 2 minutes of that game. Rare, happens from time to time, but what do you believe it revealed about this team right now?
Yeah, well, I think what we've been talking about, what the message was to the team was we're doing a great job finding a way to win these ball games. And, this one was a little bit different than what it had been in weeks past where offense needed to come through and score enough points for us. We knew we were playing explosive offense, so it was good to see our offense counter that. At the same time, we need to grow past some of this where we have multiple scores. We're up by multiple scores at the end of the game, and we're allowing the other team to hang around. So we got to close these things out, and I think that's our next step here as a ball team.
I found it interesting after the game, interviewing some players. I honestly do never remember this. After winning a game, yet seeing the disappointment in some of the defensive players that I spoke to. I couldn't get them to be excited about the win.
Yeah.
It hit them hard.
Yeah.
Is that something? I know you tell everybody, hey, man, no apologies for wins, but do you want them to feel that little bit of disappointment?
Yeah, I think it's a fine line. I think we can never overlook the fact that it's really difficult to win games in this league, and so any one that you get, you got to feel pretty good about. But I'll be honest, the best teams I've been a part of, we always felt, as a coach or a player, we always felt if we didn't play up to the level that we're capable of or coach up to the level that we're capable of, you don't feel great, even when you win. And so I think that's a sign of a good team. I think we're starting to feel that way, and it makes me feel pretty good when guys feel like that.
Yeah, I honestly, it's one of the first times in my career that I felt that.
Yeah, that's
honestly,
good.
It's really interesting to me. How was the team meeting today?
It was good. I try to keep them on their toes a little bit and not know exactly what to expect. So we had a good talk, and I tried to give the O-line a little bit of love. I thought that that's a group that typically gets very little acknowledgement, and yet since the bye week, I think they've done an outstanding job in the running game, opening up lanes for our runners, and then pass pro. I think they're doing a great job for Caleb as well. So wanted to give them some flowers.
All right, so Colson, Loveland, I think Monongai got game balls last night. I always like asking this after a win. Any additional today?
Yeah, we gave one to DJ on offense, 4 catches, 72 yards. He had the one rush, 17 yards and a touchdown, and then the touchdown passing the ball, which was great to see. On defense, it was Tremaine Edmonds, and then on special teams, we went with D-Jack.
Okay. Just the relationship with the O-line and the running backs, because that takes a bit of time to develop it, the trust or whatever, even with a young guy like Monongai. But is it resulting in an effective ability to run both inside and outside for you that you can call anything?
Yeah, I think we're growing. I felt our wide zone scheme come to life since the bye week, and now it's our gap scheme that's starting to catch up to that. And so we had some really good combinations there yesterday. Our runners are staying true to their tracks. When they do that, they help our offensive line. It all goes in tandem, and I think they're understanding that. And then I really think the underrated part of it is when you have a back running his tail off like Monongai was, it elevates everyone around him. And so when you see how he's breaking tackles and he's finishing, if you're a blocker and you haven't quite finished the play quite yet and you see him still going, you have no other choice but to keep digging deep and trying to find a way to finish around the ball carrier. And so I think we saw a number of times on tape yesterday where Kyle just kept his feet churning and going, and all of a sudden you saw all these white jerseys show up and start trying to push him along as well. There
was a run where it looked like the All Blacks Ireland match I was watching on Saturday when we got the hotel at Soldier Field, because I don't really understand rugby and I was fascinated by it. I literally jumped out of my chair when he was inside the 25, and I got inside the 15-yard line. And it was a scrum.
Oh yeah.
And it felt like a rugby match. When that's happening, doesn't that feel like you're imposing your will? The guys up front, they're just working their lather up, and they feel, man, there is nothing going to stop us.
There's no question about it. And it obviously it starts up front, then it's the runner. But I think when you turn on the tape, what I get most proud about as a play caller is seeing those receivers block the way that they did. You look at that stat sheet and Rome Odunze doesn't even have a catch, and yet he was a vital part of what we were able to do on the ground yesterday. So when you get your perimeter players blocking like that, I think good things always happen.
No block, no rock. It lives, it breathes as we stand here right now. Right. And I don't know if you know this now, and again, stats, but it's important to me. I think it's important to you guys. Number 2 in the league in rushing right now.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you know that. 144 game. There's other stats that you'd be really impressed with. The running game has really come alive here. When you started helping prepare game plans and then putting together the play call sheet, what does that entail? Do you shut it down on Friday, you lock your door and do the whole thing, or do you rely on everybody around you? How's this work?
Well, yeah, no,
I'm curious.
Yeah, we've got a process with everyone on offensive staff. They've got their own responsibilities. They're doing their research. They have play suggestions every week, and I'm a little bit different now that I'm a head coach. I get pulled so many directions that I'm in my office more often than not. But Declan, Press Taylor, a few other guys, they come in and out. We sit down, we watch some tape, we build it all out. I think we got a really good system in place. There's a million ideas that we try to draw from, and we try to tie it all together to where it makes sense, to where our guys can learn it, to where they can execute it, and yet it's still going to be challenging on the defense. And so I think we're starting to hit our stride as a staff, because once again, we haven't been together a whole lot, and they always try to do it within my vision, but yet I kind of like them going outside of the box a little bit, because that's where we grow and we evolve as well. And so I'm excited about where this thing can go, because I think we're going to just continue to our chemistry is going to grow as a staff.
Sounds like it's just scratching the surface.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you put it to bed, though, at a certain time? Or do you keep tweaking?
Yeah,
something pop in your head in the middle of the night.
Tweaks. It really goes on how our guys have handled the week, how much I think they can digest. So like some of that 2-minute stuff that we ran yesterday, that goes in on Saturdays, and we don't even get a full speed rep of it. Yet I feel pretty comfortable where we're at as a team right now to do those late additions.
Were you surprised at all how many snaps you were able to get out of Monungai? And then also, your new addition, C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah, no, I think Kyle's really built for that. If you look back to his college days, that's kind of who he's been. So I'm not surprised at all by that. And then, C.J. came in and DA likes to do his 40 up downs. If you're a new addition, you got to do your 40 up downs, or you can't play on his defense. And so Friday, CJ does his 40 up downs. He absolutely crushed it. So I knew right at that moment, well, he's in shape. He could play the whole game tomorrow if he needed to. So those guys came in, and I thought CJ had a really good game for the first one that he's been a part of in a while. And I think he picked up DA's scheme. He tackled well in space. And I think he's going to continue to flourish here.
Yeah, and he was doing some, as I like to say, some ear hustling, but he kept it under control.
That's right.
I mean, he just brings that.
There's
nowhere.
We need it.
No question. At any point in your career, did you ever have special teams responsibilities for a unit or anything?
No, I mean, it's always been when you're a young coach helping with the show teams, but I can't say that I'm an expert by any stretch. You always do what you're asked to do at the best of your ability. So I think that's the case here now. Coach Hightower does a phenomenal job with these guys. They know what to do, and it takes all of us to make sure that vision gets fulfilled.
All right, from a 40-year-old veteran to a 22-year-old rookie quarterback, Jackson Dart, what is the difference preparing for age-different quarterbacks?
Yeah, no, I think we got to try to find some things that'll slow him down a little bit. I know he started off hot to his career here. He's an athlete, but yet he still throws a pretty accurate ball. So I'll be excited to jump into this tape a little bit and see what he's all about. I know on the defensive side of the ball, they got some really talented defenders that, when you look at the numbers, maybe aren't playing quite as well as they're capable of playing. So I know we'll have our work cut out for us here this week.
Have a good week.
Yep.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jeff.
Got into a bunch of topics. I don't even know. Sometimes it just rolls. So I was curious how he puts together his game plans, because I've heard from coaches in this building in the past. Sometimes they lock the door on a Friday. They don't want anybody in there. They put together the game plan. Some we've seen it changed right up until kickoff. I mean, all sorts of ways to do it. I thought that was kind of an interesting question.
What, to analogize one of the questions you asked him, do you wake up in the middle of the night if an idea pops into your head and write it down? And I was listening to a famous musician talk, and he said he wrote one of his most famous riffs to a song in the middle of the night. It came to him. He got up, he wrote it down, got up the next morning, played it, and it's exactly how he interpreted it in his head, and it became one of the most famous songs in the history of his career. So I got to imagine that one thing I love about Ben is he doesn't speak in cliches.
Nope.
And when you guys have an interview together, it's a conversation. It's not a question and a cliche. And I really have tons of respect for him for that. But I think when he sits there and talks about Declan, and he talks about Press and the other offensive minds that he has to pick from, Antoine Randall, all the guys, I think he really appreciates the football conversations that he's able to have with these guys, because he knows exactly how he wants that blob of clay to look like at the finished product. And when you have these ideas that are included, I think it helps them get to that point.
Some of the most successful careers of friends that I know in other walks of life, they have a notepad on their nightstand right next to a book that they might be reading about whatever, and they wake up and they jot notes all the time. I've tried to do that in the past, but just don't have the conviction to roll over, turn the light on, and write it down, because you're right. There are great ideas that come to mind. Recently, the dramatic open to our Bears radio broadcast that plays to kick off the entire broadcast, a couple weeks ago, I woke up. It was 4:44 in the morning. I was wide awake, and this just came to me, and I started typing on my phone, and it was the script for that. And I couldn't have written it any better, if I say so myself. It was just a clear mind. I don't know, you're up in the middle of the night. Maybe we should both have a notepad out there and scribble some great ideas. It could be life-changing, Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I picked up the phone and typed things myself.
Yeah.
And, I got to put my glasses on. I got to get my phone ready. And it kind of wakes you up a little bit. You type away, and it also gets you back to sleep sometimes. But when getting back to the conversation that you were having about Ben and the continuous development of this offense, I'm encouraged to hear what he has to say about the increased development of this offense, where the running game and its foundation can help the play action pass and the passing game. So it's super encouraging because, as the season winds on, the opponents are going to get more difficult and more experienced.
Yeah, beginning Sunday, because the Giants' defensive line is better than the Cincinnati Bengals' defensive line.
They are. And the Bears' offensive line is better than when the season started.
Yep.
So this is not a lopsided or one-sided conversation. This is two teams that are improving. They got a little bit of a spark with that Jackson Dart, but the Bears have a spark as well with Caleb and his crew.
Hey, Bears fans, Steinhoffels is a proud partner of the Chicago Bears. This Bears season, Steinhoffels is partnering with Special Spaces Illinois to create dream bedrooms for children battling cancer. For every false start caused by the Bears defense during a home game, Steinhoffels will donate $1,000 to Special Spaces Illinois. Shop in-store and online at steinhoffels.com. The week could have been miserable. Let's call it what it is. The comeback, the win, the Loveland run after the catch. I almost screamed, "Run, Colston, run," because that was not a guarantee that things were going to evolve the way they did, because if he would have been tackled with time running out, what was that, 25 seconds ago? I don't know how that would have turned out. But that play, and he said he was running, he felt like he was running in slow motion, trying to get to the end zone. The thrill that he had, and standing there after the game with that ball tucked in under his hand, like I've seen some others this season, the pride of that moment, and that he just, like, holding that ball right to the bus, Tom, not packing it away. That's an image that I haven't seen here in a long time. And I'm seeing things that I haven't seen here in a long time repeating itself over the course of this first half of the season.
Yeah, I did appreciate the love that he was showing that football in the interviews you were doing with him in postgame. But you know what else I appreciated? I don't know if anybody saw this. Britton Brown, after he scored his touchdown, he threw the ball in out of the air. DJ Moore catches it with one hand. He gives it and hands it back to him, almost like, "Look, young man,
right.
this football is important." And not only the memories that it'll bring to you throughout the rest of your career, the stories it'll start. And to see DJ do that, it's the experience of a veteran, understanding that moment, taking advantage of it, and giving it to him.
Tom, there's work to be done. In all three phases. So let's not say, but, sometimes you got to lean on one side of the ball. Right now, the Bears are the number 6 scoring team in the NFL. And that's huge. Ben is about points. He, as I said before, he'd like to average 40 points or more a game. Scoring defense now at number 29. Special teams has had their moments, good and not so good. So this is still something, as Ben has indicated repeatedly, that come December, this is going to be a much better football team. Time starts to shrink now. Now you start thinking big. That division is crazy. You got 3 5-win teams in a 4-4 Minnesota Viking outfit. Down the stretch, everything's going to almost double in importance when they're playing each other or an NFC opponent. Now you start thinking this way. And the NFC is challenging. We said that from the beginning, but the Bears are right there.
But, that's one thing Ben said in your interview, is that he wants to win games by a couple scores. So do I. I want the Dallas win. I want the New Orleans win. The Raiders win, the Commanders win, and the win yesterday. I like them. I want to go out there, but I want to be able to have some fun and maybe, have some storytelling time in a win. And so I'm on board with Ben. I would like to see a couple touchdown win, but the flight home was just as gratifying yesterday as it would if it would have been a 3 touchdown win.
Right. I mean, we were revved up. Let's call it. We were revved up, right? And that was, wow. I don't have any other word. Wow. It's a wow. It's a wow.
Revved up after the win, and that's what led up to it, because if it would have gone the other way, I would have had a hard time leaving the booth.
Good news, Chicago United Airlines is getting brand new planes with all the bells and whistles like Bluetooth connectivity, screens at every seat, and room for everyone's roller bag. United, proud to fly the Chicago Bears, and you too. I appreciate the fans in these situations because having a dad who was a huge football fan, not experienced victory, not really loving his job, and going to dinner at the dinner table on a Sunday night, all you hear is the fork and the knife on the plate. Doesn't want to talk. Took him hard. I think Bears fans, and I saw the Bears post on their social media platforms videos that fans must have posted themselves of them going crazy on Loveland's touchdown. That just warmed my heart, man, because it means everything for the week. For fans that may not be enjoying going to their office every day or just the drudgery of their position or whatever the case may be. This is their break, is Sundays at noon.
Pismatology, Jeff. I don't know if you've ever heard that before.
Sweet words of pismatology.
Word from your dad.
Exactly.
Listen, I feel that same excitement in me. The Colston Loveland, you talked about a couple plays that got you out of your chair and the broadcast. I got me out of my chair is because I don't know if Colston Loveland realized that he was still on his feet after he made the catch and got hit. And then it comes to the realization in that instant in time to run for the goal line like you're being chased by 1,000 people. And he did, and the ultimate result of that play was a touchdown. But we kind of sat on the edge of our chair for that 17 seconds because Cairo did a nice job kicking the ball out of bounds. Then the Bears and Dennis Allen went through the prevent type of defense that he put up there and shut the game out, ended it with an interception. Let's go home.
Score big at your local Chevy dealer. The Chevy Silverado will take you through this season in style. Chevy Drive Chicago, official truck partner of the Chicago Bears. Cole Kmet, our good pal, is in concussion protocol right now, so we'll see where that goes for his availability this week. I don't think there were any other injuries of anything significant in that game. Oh, no, take that back. Josh Blackwell also in concussion protocol. All right, a couple things about the New York Giants. They're 2-7 for the third straight year under Brian Daboll. Now, albeit now with a promising young quarterback, but in many respects, this feels from the outside looking in like a rut, right? Feels like no progress being made. The Giants, as you might recall, went to the playoffs in Daboll's first year, and so many others have, including Matt Nagy with the Bears in 2018. In fact, that 22 season, Tom, Daboll, and this is different because Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl with Philadelphia, but in his first year in Jacksonville, quick turnaround, playoffs, then out of a job shortly thereafter. Mike McDaniel in that same year, playoffs. Kevin O'Connell with the Vikings, playoffs. Todd Bowles, also in his second head coaching gig, playoffs with Tampa. Sustaining that after that initial success, Tom, and how that looks and how that feels. I mean, they are coming in a third straight year at 2-7. Is that a rut that sometimes you just can't get out of, no matter what the circumstance?
Well, like you mentioned, they got Jackson Dart, and he is a quarterback that was highly thought of coming out of college, and I think that he's proved his value, that position, which is the most important, the arrow is pointed up. I think there's more of a rut concept because you lost Scattaboo and you lost Naylor. They're two of their top two offensive weapons, running back and receiver. And so who is going to be able to take their place? How are they going to be able to fill those voids? And I think that's more of a concern than saying, okay, this is a rut, even though Daboll and, the general manager and stuff, they have talked about what their intentions are for this football team. But still, I think when you have a quarterback that has shown positive signs, it's probably a little bit more exciting than having the woe's me attitude.
And then defensively, we'll dig deeper later in the week with Phil Simms going to join us on our episode 184 podcast that will drop on Thursday. Former Giants quarterback and still doing analysis work on a national level. But I think of guys like Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau. I think of I think of Dexter Lawrence. Roy Robertson Harris is on the Giants. I think of Abdul Carter. So there's some really impressive defensive players on that outfit for the New York Giants, but they are struggling also on defense at 27.7 points a game, including a league high 101 points allowed in the fourth quarter. So that defense has been chewed on a little bit by the opposition.
Yeah, but since the beginning of the season, they're not getting complimented by their offense. They're not getting tons of points. They're not getting time of possession that results in scoring. They're asking a little bit more out of the defense, not to necessarily just go out there and play defense to some of those marquee names. They're going out there to ask for a defense to win the games or put them in a position to win games. So they've really put a lot on the plate of the defense, going through the experiment of Russell Wilson and now to a rookie quarterback.
Score big at your local Chevy dealer. The Chevy Silverado will take you through the season in style. Chevy Drive Chicago, official truck partner of the Chicago Bears. And how do you tell a cashier you're a Bears fan without telling them you're a Bears fan? Well, with the Chicago Bears PNC Bank Visa Debit Card, which gets you exclusive discounts on Bears merchandise. Find out more at pnc.com/BearsCard. Whip you around the league real quick at some developments, Tom. Injuries remain a big story in Washington with Jaden Daniels. Of course, the head coach saying that he made a mistake by keeping him in the game. He's going to keep him in for one more series and take him out. Injured his elbow pretty severely. How severe, we don't know. They also lost Marshawn Lattimore for the season. So I think they have 18 guys they're in the rotation of playtime that are on IR right now. Chargers lost their left tackle, Joe Alt, for the season. Detroit, injuries to both tackles. How severe? Not long-term, it appears, but Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker, broken bone in the leg of Christian Mahogany, their starting guard. So a lot of stuff going on, man, in the division, in the NFC. Tucker Kraft, one of the best yard-after-the-catch tight ends in his time this season as compared to the league average over the time with tight ends, but that's an ACL. So it's survival, man. It's survival of the fittest. It's survival of the luck of not being injured or being injured. You know, as we reach this midway point now, you've reached kind of the top of the mountain. Now everybody's looking to go downhill and pick up steam.
Ben talked weeks ago about where he wants to go, and that trajectory is pointed upward. I know what you're saying.
I didn't explain it. I didn't explain it right.
No, I understand. I'm just being facetious. The fact is that's why assistant coaches are so important in their role. Because all of a sudden it's announced in the injury report that DeAndre Swift's not going to play. Okay, Kyle Monunga, he's a rookie from the Big Ten. What is this guy going to offer the Bears in terms of the big picture of offensive success? More than you could ever ask for. Britton Brown, he was ready to go in and play on the carries that he was offered. I love the 4th and 1 that he got when he did the old Walter Payton dive over the top because you knew those couple yards were important to him. And the other guys that have come in and played.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Austin Booker.
Yeah. You know, Austin Booker, we knew that he's been around here, familiar with the system, understands what his assignments are. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he's a guy that had to get familiar, even though he's familiar with Dennis Allen. He had to get familiar with his role here. And they weren't shy about blitzing him. They weren't shy about giving him coverage responsibilities in the middle of the field. So kudos to all the assistant coaches to having all their guys ready when they had to come in a moment's notice.
Tom, that game is so detailed in terms of statistics, I can't even go through them. I was going to go through a bunch, but it's too many. It's hard to comprehend the statistical output of those two teams Sunday in Cincinnati. Our Doug Coletti came up with a bunch of them, including the first time the Bears gave up more than 40 points. They were 0-40. They won the game for the first time in their franchise history.
The Bears had a 9-minute time of possession advantage. Yeah. And that is, you look at all the other numbers and how they filter in and factor, the production of a certain positions. When you talk about a team who had the ball for so long that you kind of, you look at some of the stats that have come up. One team, the Bears had 30 first downs. Cincinnati had 26. But the Bears had 11 rushing first downs. That's a key when Cincinnati had 3. So there's a significant amount of time difference in the time of possession equation that comes into play when you have that many rushing first downs.
1,071 yards, 7.6 yards of play combined, 11 touchdowns, 4 field goals, 3 turnovers. And the Bears won the game despite giving up a kick return touchdown to start the game, a missed field goal that was overturned, but a blocked field goal.
Lost onside kick.
And a lost onside kick. If you were to tell me that would happen in the game, I say there's no way you're overcoming all that.
I tell you, you tell me, listen, I'll offer you all that, or I'll offer you 283 yards rushing.
Right, I'll take the rushing every time.
Give me that rushing yards,
Yes.
and I'll win every time.
Yes, 100%. Oh, my gosh. It was fun. It was fun in the end. I'm sure we would have had a different disposition today if it hadn't turned out. That's for sure. All right, Tom, that's going to do it for us. This podcast brought to you by Miller Lite, the official beer partner of your Chicago Bears. Tastes like Miller Time, Chicago. Go to MillerLite.com/BearsPod to find delivery options near you. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. For Ben Johnson and Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Thanks for listening, everybody. Please subscribe now on the Bears official app, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Bear down, everybody.